Welcome to this episode of the Growthcast. My name is Jackson Campbell, and we are joined here today with Dallas Pruitt for another extended cut episode, wrapping up our book of the month that was "Obstacle Is the Way" by Ryan Holiday. I'm very pumped to talk about today's episode. It's gonna be a fun one. Just a quick review of these month's episodes. But before I do that, before I review the episodes that we've done this month, if this is your first time joining us, thank you for being here. We're super happy to have you here on the Growthcast. Quick rundown of the Growthcast. Every Monday through Saturday, we have episodes here at the Growthcast. Monday through Thursday, you get to hear from Dallas Pruitt on some daily drips, where he talks about mindset principles. 3 to 5 minute long episodes, very powerful and a fantastic way to start your day. On Friday, I get the opportunity to jump on an interview with Tyler Devereaux, owner, founder, CEO, key principal at Multifamily Capital Partners, and co-founder, CEO at Multifamily Mindset. I get to sit down with him and discuss mindset principles with him and how he's growing and how he's learning the things he's picking up and that he wants to share and teach to others as well. So those are very awesome, great, impactful episodes. Definitely tune into those Friday episodes. And then on Saturday, the episode you're listening to today, extended cut here with myself, where I get the opportunity to sit down with my good friend Dallas Pruitt, interview him on mindset principles. And like I said, we have a book of the month. This month, it was "Obstacle Is the Way" by Ryan Holiday. And so we've been breaking it down as the month goes. But if you're just joining us, thank you for being here. Please leave us a rating and review and share the episodes. That's how we grow, so we would appreciate it if you could do that. But this past month, we talked about "The Obstacle Is the Way" by Ryan Holiday, and we broke it down by 3 of the major principles within that book that were perception, how to choose to see and interpretate obstacles. And then we talked about action, taking action despite the obstacles. And we talked about will, developing the resilience and perseverance when obstacles pop up. But today, Dallas, I really wanted to talk to you about that word. I wanted to talk to you about obstacles. I wanted to break down what obstacles actually truly are and which obstacles we should be choosing, right? So, yeah. Dal, let's start there, dude. What do you believe is meant by the word obstacle when Ryan Holiday uses it in the phrase "the obstacle is the way"?
Yeah. Simply put, I believe he's talking about the path forward. So there's a quote where he says, "The obstacle in the path becomes the path," right? The obstacle in the way becomes the way. And I think that, simply put, the obstacle is your path to your purpose. And, the obstacle is being the path. I think there's a preparatory principle or a preparatory component to being able to plow through walls. And that is where a lot of the work starts with anybody looking to accomplish anything in life, and that is what matters to you. Why is any of this even important, right? Purpose in life. People out there searching for purpose in their lives. The obstacle in the way becomes the way once you have prepared yourself or built up the proper mentality regarding your purpose and your why to living, what matters. And so, people who plow through walls, the reason they plow through walls is because they care so damn much about something, right? And I would plow through a wall for my children. I would plow through a wall. I'd go to jail for my children. Yeah. I'd do anything for my children and my wife.
Sure.
Right? And the obstacles that I face as a father, they're easier to plow through because my family means that much to me. My family means more to me and than any of the challenges we will face collectively.
Yeah.
And so the challenges in and of themselves are super hard. If I didn't care about my family at the level I do and the love that I have for them, then those obstacles, I don't know if I'd be able to get through all those obstacles.
Right.
But I don't focus on the obstacles in that sense, right? As they pop up, I tackle them, whatever way, shape, form they pop up, because I focus on my why, and I connect and attach to that way more often, and have for a very long time, right? Built that up. That's the forefront and focus of everything I do. It's not the obstacle, right? I can plow through the obstacle because I believe in my family. I believe in the love that we share. I believe in, our purpose together, my purpose as a father. I believe in all of that so heavily and focus on that so much that the obstacles are the path, right? The path is just littered with obstacles. So I don't know if that brought it full circle, but that would be how I would define it in a simple way, is the obstacle is literally the path for you to your purpose and your why.
Yeah, dude, that's really good. I really like how you broke that down. The obstacle is, from what you just said, the obstacle should be the reason, right? The obstacle should always be in line with enhancing whatever the reason is that you're doing what it is that you're doing, or the why, right? So your obstacles that you're choosing, Dal, based off what you just said, it's logical to think you should really only be choosing and looking for obstacles that are going to put you in a better position to achieve what it is you're trying to achieve, or do what it is that you're trying to do, accomplish the goal that you're trying to accomplish. Is you really should be only looking for those obstacles that are going to amplify that and push you towards that. Because one of the episodes that we talked about, it was the last one, we talked about developing resilience and perseverance to these obstacles and choosing hard things, right? And choosing and searching out and choosing to do hard and difficult things. But what you're saying off of what you just said is those hard and difficult things that you choose to do should always be in line with what it is that you're willing to plow through a wall for, like you said, and anything, those things that you hold very close to your heart and that are very, very, very valuable to you, right? When I think of obstacles and what it is that you were just saying, obstacles pop up, I believe, a lot of the times because we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, and we're living the life and by the values that we're supposed to be living. As those obstacles pop up, right? That we're supposed to be living, what we're called to do. So when I think of that plus what you just said, the obstacle should always be value enhancing. What your value is, whether that's something you value, like your kids, like you're saying, or your values, your characteristics, who you are, and how you make decisions. The obstacles should always be in line with enhancing those things based off what you just said.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And it's a long-term perspective with obstacles, right? The obstacle in the way becomes the way. Well, the path is long, and there's lots of obstacles, plural, along that path, and it's always keeping long-term perspective when it comes to this kind of stuff. I think that people choose the easy route because they haven't done the work necessary to figure out what that long-term perspective looks like for them in terms of their aim and their life and their work and how all of it's connected. So jumping, forward.
Yeah, dude, why do people tend to choose that easier route? I know you just kind of touched on it, but let's dive in there a little bit more, bro. Why do people tend to choose the easy route rather than the hard route?
Well, just break that down to its simplest form, which is you care more about the short term than you do the long term. When you care more about the short term than you do the long term, then you're going to make decisions based off the short term, and that usually brings maybe some immediate gratification in certain areas, but that's not long-term joy or happiness, because happiness and that type of thing come from, right, solving real problems that are important to you in your life that bring value to your life and the lives of others. So the easy route is littered with just quick, immediate types of gratification or short-term thinking. Short-term thinking is something that plagues the easy route, that plagues most people, that causes them to fall into the easy route, right? The greater the struggle, the greater the reward. And, the hard route is the route that produces more when it comes to growth and personal development. But it's also a much lonelier path. The hard route is a lot lonelier. You will spend a ton more time on the hard route living inwardly, doing introspective work. You will spend a lot more time there on the hard path, right? The majority choose the easy route. So again, naturally, like there's going to be less people on the hard route, and you're going to spend a lot of time with yourself.
Yeah.
You're going to have to spend a lot of time with yourself on that hard route. But the cool thing about the hard route is that's where purpose lives. You know, that's where purpose is enhanced, and that's where priorities live. You know, that's where learning lives, and that's where fulfillment is in high volume. That's where joy is in high volume. But again, I think coming back to it, the easy route, the reason there's more people on the easy route is because a lot of people think very short term, whether it's in their life or in their business. And when they think short term in the shape of, or in the form of like relationships in that sphere, right? If I'm thinking short term in relationships, you could use that for an example, then I am going to be bouncing around from person to person, trying to fill a void, right? Some type of emotional void, whatever it is. And long term, that's a different play. And so I believe, and from my experience and from a psychological perspective, it's a lot easier to look for immediate gratification within the lives that we live than it is to think 10 years down the road. Yeah. What do I really want my life to look like? 10 years down the road, what do I really want my business to look like?
Yeah.
Right? It's a lot more difficult.
It's an interesting thing too, dude, because maybe you can help me break this down, and maybe you can help me understand this. Maybe you could break it down better than I can. Because one of the episodes that we talked about this month as well, in lines with the book Obstacle is the Way, was action, was taking action. And one of the things we talked about when taking action was a smaller step is better than no step. So taking a small, easy action, a small, easy step towards what it is that you're doing, or towards that obstacle, that's a good thing because you're taking a step. I can see how maybe some people might get confused there, Dal. You're taking the harder route, but you're taking an easy first step, right? When we just talked about taking the easy route is early gratification, but then when we talk about taking action towards obstacles, we talk about taking smaller, easy steps to get started, to gain that momentum towards taking down your obstacles or attacking those obstacles. So maybe you can help me understand that, Dad. Like, how do we differentiate that? Taking small actions down the harder route, small, easy, simple actions down the harder route, rather than taking the easy route. I could just see myself getting confused there when I take the hard route, but I'm doing the easy steps up front that do bring some early gratification, right? Because you're checking things off the list, right? So you're getting that dopamine release. You're feeling that sense of accomplishment. So yeah, dude, help me understand that.
I think it's just direction. So I mean, I think of in terms of a map. You know, everybody has their own map, and that looks very unique to whatever treasure you seek.
Yeah.
I don't know what treasure you seek in life, and only you do. You know, like ultimately you're defining whatever that treasure is. And so if you're taking an easy step, just make sure it's in the right direction. You know, I think you could get lost in taking lots of easy steps, and if you're directionally off on that easy step, then I mean, who knows where you'll end up if you take 5, 6, 7 easy steps in the wrong direction. Now you're completely off course. And so, yeah, it's an easy step, and you could get some, short-term gratification off of whatever that easy step is. And that's life. Sometimes we do take a wrong step, and that's why I always talk about catch yourself in error-ridden thinking. It's like the path is not always easy.
Mm-mm.
But I think that's again, coming back to the long-term piece where it's just like directionally, are you headed, if that's an easy step you're choosing to make, what direction did that send you directionally? Like,
right.
and maybe it was a little bit here, but if it's completely this way. Now, like, that one step could really screw up a lot of stuff if it's directionally going completely off track of where, your treasure lands. And I don't know how to define that for someone else. That's their job. They have to define what that treasure is for them. Right.
Yeah,
what that purpose, the purpose, the why,
the value,
the
right?
value,
Dude, exactly.
yeah.
The value, the things that your values and the things that you value, dude. So really what you're just telling me is that it's so that in order to make sure you're taking the correct small step towards your obstacle or the big goal, is you really have to, it comes all the way back to what you brought up at the beginning of the episode. It comes back to defining what it is that's important to you, what it is that you'll plow through a wall for. So if you're moving in that direction, if you're making a decision based on that, your values and the things you value, then you're making the right step, whether it's a small one to get you started towards that obstacle or a hard one. So dude, that helps a ton. That's awesome.
Well, and it comes back to the very first thing that anybody needs to do if they're just at a loss. And you could be at any age right now listening to this going like, this is me. I don't freaking know where I'm at right now. I can't even orient myself on a map because I didn't even know I have a map. I didn't even know there was a map. Right? Well, the map starts to form, and the map exists, comes into an existence once you've defined what it is you want out of life. Right? What do you want? And then once you've decided what that vision is for you, and that's the cool thing is we all have agency. It's a gift. Then the map starts to appear. But you have no map if you don't have any aim. If X doesn't mark any spot whatsoever, then you freaking can't go anywhere, right? But then you bring in values, right? Like that's why it's important. The value part's so crucial because like you've got to really start to organize like, well, what do I value? Like those are some of the best questions you can ask yourself when you're at a loss. It's like, what matters to me? What do I value? What kind of things do I value the most? And then start to formulate your vision around those things. And
so if you have so to consolidate everything that we've talked about right now, if you have your values in line and you understand your values and they're prioritized in your life, you'll know which obstacles to take down. The obstacles in which that you need to take down will be the ones that will pop up in your road because they're going to be in line with the values that you have and the things that you hold valuable to yourself. So good.
And believe in the values. You guys actually, I think, talked about this, Jackson. If I'm not, I might stand corrected. But just to reiterate the point, believe in the value. Believe in those values more than you believe in the obstacle. And again, but it comes back to what we just started with, which is you care so much about the value. You care so much about your why, your purpose, and the values that are attached to that you don't believe in the obstacle. The obstacle just is. It's just like the path. It's the path. The obstacle is the path. The path and the obstacle in the way becomes the way because you believe so much and you've done all the preparatory work regarding your why, your purpose, and the values that are attached to all of that. You don't increase belief in the obstacle or you don't fixate on the obstacle because you're so fixated on the values, the why,
your purpose.
The purpose. Yep, all that stuff. And so that's where you got to start. If you really want to create a life that's, one that's been created on purpose with purpose, and that's up to you, my friends. That's not up to me or anybody in your inner circle, Only I was able to define my purpose, my unique purpose in life. And, it's up to me to navigate my path based off my values, based off my purpose, based off, my why and my bag of whys that I have in my life. And that is going to look a certain way. And it will, and it will only look that certain way one time ever throughout the course of history. And it will be within the confines of Dallas Pruitt's life. And I think that's a really important part for everybody, is in a world filled with so many people telling you what you should do and so many different routes you could take, your route is your route, right?
And
trust in the process, hold the vision and trust in the process. And you get to choose what that route is. You get to choose what your map looks like. You get to choose your values. You get to choose your vision. You get to choose all of it. Put the principles to work. One of the most important being agency. You get to choose.
Well, yep.
You actually have to. Don't even get to. You actually have to choose if you want it to work. You have to choose. And saying yes to something means you're saying no to something else, right? And vice versa. Your no's matter and your yeses matter a lot.
Absolutely.
More than what you can even understand at times. So,
very, 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 very true. Dallas, as we wrap up this episode, why is choosing the correct obstacle and the correct and the proper hard route, how can that lead to personal growth and development? I mean, I know that's pretty self-explanatory, but with everything that we've written down, how can these things help? Like, why do we chase these obstacles? Why do we do these things instead of taking the easy route and staying comfortable and safe and protected? Why is this the better way in thought process?
Yeah, I think, well, that's a super loaded question, and you could probably stay on it for another 15 more minutes at least.
Yeah.
Because suffering exists on both sides.
That's a great way, dude.
Simply put, for me, it's just suffering exists on both sides. And I want to choose better suffering in my life than suffering for nothing. But either way, you're going to suffer. So,
dude, that's it. That's such a good, simple answer, man. That's exactly it. Because there's pain on both sides. One pain and one pain's going to cause growth, and the other one
emptiness,
void.
And so I think that I mean, it was a few weeks ago, but one of the questions was, what are you willing to suffer for? Rather than ask the question like, what do you want out of life? Ask the question like, what are you willing to suffer for? Mm-hmm. You're going to suffer either way. You choose the easy route, you're going to suffer because you chose the easy route. I promise you.
Right.
You choose a hard route, you're going to suffer too. But that suffering means more. And because it means more, that's actually where the growth and the development comes from, is because it means something. Mm-hmm. So it makes you want to stretch yourself and do better and do more for others and to inch yourself closer to that treasure, right? And it makes the journey more fulfilling and more gratifying, and you have increased levels of joy and peace and all these things that come with it. There's all these byproducts that come from proper suffering, but there's all these other negative byproducts that come from improper suffering, which is the easy route, the void, the emptiness, hollow, negative feelings, lost, whatever. And so, yeah, there's going to be suffering either way, man.
So
it's up
good.
to you.
Dallas, we talk often to fall in love with the journey. Be in love with the journey. Fall in love with the process. This book literally explains and breaks down how to do that. Through these things and following the obstacle, everything that you just broke down, that's how you fall in love with the process. That's what it truly means to fall in love with the process, is loving the suffering that you're going through because you know it's better. And that's how it's better for yourself, those around you, and it's going to create better in totality altogether. So that's what people are talking about, dude. When they're talking about loving the journey, it's because they understand how to navigate the obstacles that they choose to navigate. That's going to put them in a better position to become the people they're trying to become and achieve the things that they're trying to achieve. So this book's made a massive impact on my life because of these teachings, and it's translated in a ton of growth for me, as I know it has for you for sure.
It's a great one.
Dal, as we wrap up this month's book of the month, man, is there anything else that you want to add?
Yeah, with the timing of today's episode and the changes that are going to be coming into effect with the podcast and just growth, right? With the multifamily mindset and this journey we've been on with all of this, we don't rise to the level of our systems. We don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our systems is a quote that many of you have heard me share before on the podcast. And I think that one of those habits that's most impactful, that is oftentimes overlooked, and I call it the habit that feeds so many other habits because of what comes from the learning process within it, is read to lead. We're not going to be doing, to jump straight forward, we're not going to be doing book of the month on the podcast every single month moving forward. There's going to be some awesome changes coming down the pipeline, and we're excited about them all. But one of the things, again, as we say yes to things, well, that means we say no to things, or we transition into other things. And one of those things is that change. So let me just share that once more. Adopt the habit, one of the habits that feeds so many other habits in your life, and just choose to read to lead. The Obstacle is the Way. Damn good book. Stillness is the Key. Damn good book. Mindset by Carol Dweck. Unbelievably amazing resource. They're free mentors.
Takes what it takes. Yeah, dude.
They're free. They're free mentors. Not free. You have to pay for them, right? But they're cheap mentors. Become a self-learner. Become a self-learner. You will not regret it. So that's my last.
Read and grow. Read and grow for sure. Dallas, thank you so much, my man. For those of everybody listening, thank you for listening. Please leave us a rating and review, and please share this wherever it is that you are listening to your podcast. We appreciate you. Have a great rest of your day. Dallas, thank you so much. And for all our listeners, remember that the obstacle truly is the way. If you can have the correct perception, take the right will, or take the right action, and continue to have that resilience and perseverance through the obstacles is the way to growth and everything that you want and need. So we appreciate you. Thank you for listening. Have a great rest of your day, y'all. Take care.